Well, good morning and welcome. Lovely day, lovely Friday, and we're happy to be here to talk sports. The hangover is over now, and we're fully recovered. And of course, our eyes are clear. And now we can analyze and pick the pieces and look at the way forward. Well, good morning once again. My name is Yemi Adebayo, and I bid you welcome to the Friday morning edition of Sports This Morning. We have a lot lined up for you this morning on the show, and this morning on the show we want you to be a part of the show. We want you to have your say on all of the things we'll be talking about, and of course we'll be introducing the feedback segment this morning. Just let you have a say and contribute to all of the things we will be discussing on the show this morning. Of course, this morning we will be looking at what's going to happen tomorrow, the third place and final of the African Nations Championship, the lessons learned and positives, if there are any. We'll look at, well, today's the last day in the transfer window, and you can expect a lot of activities. A lot of players have moved. A lot of speculation going on right now as we speak. Some players having medicals, some players busy receiving phone calls, some agents moving between cities. So we'll look at that. Of course, we'll give you a slice of basketball. We'll talk about the NBA, and of course, look at Nigeria's chances of picking one of the wild card tickets to the FIFA.World Championship. And of course, we'll talk boxing. We'll look at some of the upcoming fights, the ones to expect, the ones to look up to in the coming months, in February, March, and April. So that's the outlook of the show this lovely Friday morning. But of course, I'm not alone. I have Kunle Philip with me. Kunle, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Good morning, Yemi. It's good to be here.
All right. Like I told you, we want you to be a part of everything we're doing this morning. And so it will come up on your screen how you can be a part of Sports This Morning, especially on a day when you have a lot to say, when there's a lot to take off your chest. And so on Facebook, it's Channel Sports, Twitter handle at channels_sports, and of course my own handle at Yemi Adebayo 20. So you can just talk about all of the things we've mentioned, and of course if there are some other things you feel that needs a mention, you can also hear your view, and of course we'll do our best to get it across. Okay, let's move away from that. Kunle, let's not talk about what should have happened that didn't happen.
Okay.
But let's go on and talk about the third place and the final and look ahead. One good thing coming from the camp of the Super Eagles is the fact that the boys are saying, look, we're disappointed we didn't get to the final, but we want to win the bronze for Nigeria, and I think that counts for something.
Of course, I think despite not able to beat Ghana, there's still it's very important that we should be able to beat Zimbabwe for that third place game slated for tomorrow. But of course, let's not also forget that the Zimbabwean team are also all fired up. They are the surprise team of this tournament from our own perspective. They've done very, very well, and the Libyans had to defeat them via penalty shootout. So they really have a lot to play for. But of course, I think the Super Eagles must
the key thing, quickly before we leave this, I don't want us to dwell too much on this. Can Nigeria be motivated for this game?
Of course, the players are talking tough, and I think they should be able to get the result against Zimbabwe, but it's going to be pretty tough game.
Okay, all right. We're done with predictions. A lot of us thought that Nigeria would beat Ghana. It didn't happen, and so. But let's take a look at the final, and that's it on your screen. Two teams that had to get through to the final via penalties.
Absolutely.
Some have said we're going to see a dull final. I don't know if you agree with those who have that opinion.
Well, if you take into cognizance the way the Black Stars, this Black Stars team representing Ghana in South Africa is anything to go by, you want to say that they have they are not so exciting like the normal Black Stars of Ghana, with all their top players. But of course, against the Libyan team have worked also. Both teams met at the group stage and they played out a 1-0 draw. and you could see some flares on the part of the Libyan team. If the Ghanaian team I saw against Nigeria is anything to go by, if they continue to play tactically, they are very disciplined. Defensively, they are good. But offensive, very solid. But offensive,
they don't get to score many goals.
They don't get to score many goals. They are very weak up front, but of course at the back they are very strong. But against one thing again that could really affect Ghana is their marking ability. The way they throw the tackles at times leaves less to be desired, and that
Kunle is African football. It's African football, and it's understandable. But let's leave the final for a while. Nigeria's not going to be part of it, but of course we hope that our boys are motivated enough to play the third place match, and some of our friends are already calling it a golden bronze. But we'll have to win it before it becomes a golden bronze. But let's talk about Nigeria. Is there any lesson, any positives to take? This, for instance, Ejike Ozoni, I mean, you run short of adjectives to describe him. Most valuable player of the tournament, in my own opinion.
Of course, he has done very well. Apart from the first game where he was absent. The rest of the games he's been fantastic, and he's won 3.
I think this is one of the lessons. A lesson on how not to take penalties.
Yeah, I think the Ghanaians had already made out their plans. I listened to the guy that took the last penalty in this game. He said they were already preparing for penalties
even
before the game. And of course, you could see the way they actually played the game. They were very tactical. They were defensive, and they made sure that we could
restricted us.
Yes, our chances were restricted. And at the end of the day, they were very happy. The match was going to go into penalties.
What are the lessons? One
of the lessons I feel that we have learned from this, I pray we learn, is the fact that we didn't have enough preparation. Yes, Keshi said it even out there in South Africa that this is not the best crop of players we have in the Nigerian Premier League. That the best players are there in Nigeria, and these players that are here just have the opportunity to be here. So definitely there is work for the technical advisor, the technical crew, to make sure that they go all around the centers in Nigeria and pick the best players. Prepare adequately.
Not 3 weeks, 1 month.
Absolutely, get the players. The Ghanaians have been preparing all this while.
But if we had won, I'm sure you won't be saying this.
I won't be saying it, but Yemi, you remember that even the last time we spoke, I was on the show, I said this wasn't the best kind of players we have in the Nigerian Premier League, and this is not the best. We didn't have the best preparation, but of course, it's still good. The good thing we also learned is that we are able to discover some players which ordinarily wouldn't have even made the team to the World Cup.
If some of the guys that have traveled to Europe probably still in Nigeria, some of these guys may not get the chance.
May not get the chance.
So that's a positive.
That's a positive.
Players
discover like yes,
some players. Okay,
of course.
All right. For me, a lot of positives to take, and if there's only one knock that the authorities should take, that's the LFF. We should prepare better, and even when we win, it's not always because we prepared well. Sometimes the can-do spirit of the Nigerian always helps us out. On that day, we saw the Ghanaians pray, we saw the Nigerians pray. God had to listen to somebody. I think God had to listen to the most prepared team, and that was Ghana. So let's move on now on the show and take a look at the papers. Like I said, is transfer day deadline, the last day in the transfer, and a whole lot of things are happening. And so we'll take a look at the papers now and look at what the papers have for us. Interesting things. We start with Sports Day, and the man everyone is talking about, Ejike Ozoni, and saying, "I was dead and raised." Well, set sight on third place consolation. We talked about that. That story is on page 3. If you want to really know what Ejike is saying, you need to grab a copy of Sports Day. A whole lot of other interesting stories. We'll talk about some of this later on. Edin Dzeko ready to join Dortmund, and Guardiola admits Cruz exit. It might just be on his way to Manchester United. It might just be. A lot of this will happen between now and 11 p.m. It might just be. And Mexico won Nigeria ahead of the friendly on March the 5th, and a lot of other story. Our own captain Joseph Yobo moved to Norwich, so we'll talk about that. I think we're going to stay on Complete Sports for a while and look at some of the stories. Eagles grab 16 million for Ghana loss. That story is on page 13 of today's Complete Sports. Sports Minister rewards team for gallant display. NFF president showers $10,000 on Keshi's boys. Let's stop a little and talk about this. There was a promise made before the Morocco game, and after that game, we played Ghana. But a lot of us thought that, everything was up in smokes. But we need to give credit to the National Sports Commission. They kept the promise,
of course,
and the squad is $200,000 richer.
I think it's very, very good. You always know the National Sport Commission led by Bolaji Abdullahi to be a man of credibility, a man that keeps his word, and it's very, very good. The guys are playing at home, they play in the Nigerian Professional Football League, they don't earn much, and this kind of cash will actually go a long way for them.
Yeah, okay. A lot of stories. I'm very sure we'll get back to this later. All of some of the players that have moved. We'll look at some of it. But let's move over now. Let's look at soccer star Eagles pocket 16 million losing bonus, and he describes it as incredible. Okay, soccer star this Friday edition. Zoe says only God kept me alive. Probably referring to what happened in the early moments of the game against Ghana. Mikel Cahill plot Man City's fall. We'll also talk about that when we look at some of the big games in Europe. Chelsea agrees Bayern's 35 million pounds bid for David Luiz. Okay, we'll also talk about that later. Interesting one there. And of course, Frank Ribery and Karim Benzema, they've been left off the hook. So we'll talk about that one. And the last paper for review this morning, Sporting Life, and of course, most of the stories that made the headlines in all the other papers. Semi-final loss. Keshi saying we were too anxious. That happens to you when you have an advantage, you have all the chances, and you're not scoring. You get scared. Well, the minister also explained why the boys were paid in spite of the loss to Ghana. That story is on page 14. Comments coming from Ejike Ozoyin, how God saved his life, and a whole lot of things. But an interesting one, Nigeria Globe Premier League champions, Kano Pillars, have appointed Modi as their coach. That also there. And of course, something that should interest us, winter transfer deadline, that's today, talking about today, Wolfsburg and aim for Ike Uche. Forget about the money, it's not, but that they are in for him is a big deal for me, because a young man is scoring goals.
Of course, it's a good one. But if I have my take, I think I will still want him to still remain in Spain, where he's seen on a regular basis. Wolfsburg is a very, very big club, no doubt about it. But of course, I think I would have preferred a better, maybe a move from the English Premier League.
Especially when you have some few months of the World Cup.
To the World Cup, it will take him time before he gets used to the system. And
okay.